Hey guys, welcome back to Now Showing. Yes, I realize it's been a long time since we put out any videos. With our work schedule and everything, the summers and stuff like that, they get pretty hectic, so we don't have nearly as much time. But it kind of starts to die down towards the fall, winter, early spring. So we do plan on putting out a lot more content for you, a lot more top tens, trailer reactions, collectible reviews. I'm gonna go into detail on my collectible room because all the videos up until this point that you've watched have been done in Cam's um, movie room, and we've kind of touched on that I collect. Now I collect more on the realm of like just the figures, statues, Funkos, that sort of thing. I don't really collect steel books, collector's edition, DVD, Blu-ray, that sort of thing. So mine's more collectible, and we will, of course, also be going back into Cam's movie room, and we're going to do a more in-depth one there also. Um, but without anything further, I wanted to kind of get things kicked off with at least doing a countdown because that's kind of what we really were known for. So my first countdown that I want to do for you is going to be Halloween movies based on or around Halloween. So these aren't going to be like Texas Chainsaw, The Exorcist, like movies that you kind of like when Halloween comes around, you think of like horror movies. It's not going to be Jason. It's not going to be Freddy. I mean, a spoiler for the list. It's going to be Halloween. Like some of those are going to make this list because I mean that is quintessential on Halloween. So. Without spoiling anything else on my list, let's just get right into it. So my number 5 is going to be All Hallows Eve, which came out in 2013, and Terrifier, which came out in 2016. And really, like they're all right movies. They're not the greatest movies. I'm not gonna lie to you. They have some good gore, but the reason that it made my list for number 5 is just sheerly for Art the Clown. Of course, All Hallows Eve is the movie that introduced us to Art, and then of course Terrifier is Art's standalone movie, and then we do have Terrifier 2, which was supposed to come out this year. Unfortunately, it's not much like a lot of the movies that we were expecting to come out this year. They're all coming out next year or 2022. So we have a lot to look forward to, and we do plan on doing a video that kind of goes over all the movies that were supposed to come out, when they got pushed back, if they got a release date, which ones we're most excited for. So look for that video to come in the upcoming weeks. Number 4, this is going to be a controversial one because yes, it's on my list because it does take place on Halloween, but it's also, in my opinion, a very underrated movie that gets overshadowed by the rest of the franchise because it doesn't really star the main person from that franchise. If that didn't give it away, number 4 is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Yes, I understand that it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. I don't care. Like, I'm looking at this as a movie, like, solely as a movie. Not that it, like, doesn't tie in that into the whole storyline and doesn't star Michael Myers. Like, you have to realize that, like, they really weren't trying to make, like, this huge franchise. They never expected Halloween to blow up quite as much as it did, and they kind of wanted to get away from that. They wanted to do something different. So, I mean, I can't fault them for that. Yes, they eventually, in Halloween 4, they came back to Michael, and then, like, let's be honest, some of the movies that came out after that, like, I really wish they didn't come out. Like, I wish they wouldn't have ran the franchise completely down, and just kind of were forced to put out movies, because some of them were pretty shitty, honestly. Now, I will say that the reboot, which we have covered in some of the other videos, the reboot I thought was incredible, and I'm glad to see it finally kind of going in like what I feel is a little bit of a better direction from where like the Rob Zombies, which I thought were almost complete and utter trash, but I mean they had some saving qualities. But overall, I thought those were horrible, and some of the later Halloweens, other than say like H2O, really weren't that good. So with that being said, back to Season of the Witch. It's just a very fun horror movie. It's set on Halloween about a mask company that's trying to basically take over. They're trying to massacre a bunch of people. Once again, I want to stay away from spoilers, even though this has been out for a long time. It did come out in what was that? 1984. I'm not 100% sure on that, but like I said, Season of the Witch is my number four pick, just an all around, and I do want to back up. So something new that we're gonna do is that we're gonna do our rating out of 10. So to back up All Hallows Eve and Terrifier, I put those both at about a 7. Moving up to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, I gave that a 7.5. And now for my number 3 is a movie called Haunt, came out in 2019. I gave this an 8 out of 10. I was blown away by this movie. It's not like a big budget, like over the top movie. Basically, what it's about is a group of friends on Halloween go to a haunted house, like a lot of us love to do. But this haunted house isn't one that isn't like a big name, like you there every single year. But they decided to go anyway, and I just thought there was some really cool kills in it. There was some really good story. The character designs on the actual villains, like a twist with that. About midway through the movie, I thought was ingenious. I thought it was a great concept, and like I said, this movie just really kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. And so, like I said, I gave that an 8 out of 10. I highly, highly recommend watching that one, especially if you're kind of looking for a movie that's based around Halloween. You want to watch maybe have a Halloween party where you just watch movies that are all based around Halloween, and you need some help like narrowing it down. You don't want to watch the same old Freddy, Jason, etc. That's one that I would definitely put towards the top of your list. So number 2 is kind of a no-brainer. Well, actually, 2 and 1 are honestly no-brainers if you really think about it, in my opinion. So number 2 is Trick or Treat, came out in 2007. And this is where it's a little not controversial, but so number 2 and number 1 both got 10 out of 10s. So Trick or Treat, I love the movie. I think it's a great anthology. I love how all the stories intertwine. Sam's such a great character that kind of ties everything together. I will say that I'm not the biggest fan of him once he takes the burlap mask off. I think he's a lot creepier with that on. I understand he's like the spirit of Halloween and he's supposed to be like a kind of have like the deformed pumpkin, but all in all, it's another one that it's my kind of tradition to watch this movie on Halloween, and it's a movie that I watch all throughout. And you might see that I really do love this movie once we go into my collectibles, because you can't see it because it's off camera right now. But I do have a life-size mannequin dressed up as Sam, much like the Michael Myers that you see behind me, along with some other Sam figures and whatnot. So now we're at number 1, and like I said, I kind of spoiled this one in the beginning. It is Halloween. 1978. John Carpenter's Halloween. I have the life-size mannequin right there, as you can see. And this one also, like I said, it got a 10 out of 10. This is the one that started it all. This is the greatest slasher movie. This is, it's called Halloween. It takes place on Halloween. The story, the directing, the cinematography, there is nothing wrong with this movie whatsoever. And it still stands up to the test of time. This came out in 1978, and it's still just as good. And movies that are coming out today, movies that came out in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, 2010s, have not come close to what this movie did. Come on, this is the movie that got, basically, because this movie came out and was doing so good, that's why we got Jason. They were like, oh, we need to come up with something, and we need to come up with it fast. Like, we need to ride the coattails of John Carpenter. Look at what he's doing. We need a character, and that's really why you got Jason. If you didn't have Michael Myers, you never would have had Jason. And that is one of the key facts on why Michael Myers will always be better than Jason Voorhees. Yes, Jason Voorhees might be bigger, might be a little bit stronger, but Michael Myers is not that weak, not that much weaker than Jason, I should say. He's a lot creepier, more iconic in my opinion, and everyone always falls back, oh, but Jason's got more kills than Michael. I mean, as of right now, that's true, but you can be like, oh, well, Jason's in limbo with legal things, and that's why, like, if he can get more movies out, he could really cement that legacy. Well, unfortunately, he doesn't have more movies coming out, and we have two more Halloween movies coming out, and I can't wait for those. Halloween Kills, and I mean Halloween Kills. Like, so I have a feeling that we're gonna have a new leader finally, and it should be the rightful king of slashers, and that's Michael Myers. So that's my list. Just a quick recap. Number 5 is All Hallows Eve. Number 4, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Number 3, Haunt. Number 2, Trick or Treat. And number 1 was Halloween. I did have some honorable mentions that I will go through real quick right now. Normally we would have done these in the beginning, but I do really want to mention these ones because this kind of gives you, this would be kind of like my top 10 to an extent. And this kind of gives you a good list of movies if you are trying to put together something to watch on Halloween and you wanted to kind of theme it all around Halloween. So my number 6 would actually be Night of the Demons. I mean, come on, this is a classic Wes Craven, just practical effects, and it takes place on Halloween. It's a Halloween party, and the kids, they make the ever bright idea of, you know what, let's mess around with doing some satanic rituals, and of course something comes, and then from there it's just survive the night. Next is going to be House of a Thousand Corpses. After that, Murder Party, Idle Hands, and Clown House are other movies that take place on or around Halloween that I highly recommend. So if you agree with my list, let me know. If you don't, let me know. I'm probably going to try to get Cameron to do his list and maybe just put it into the comments so you can kind of get both of our opinions. Share your list. What do you think? Is there anything that I missed? Because I mean, there are a ton of movies that take place on or around Halloween, but a lot of them are just kind of quick, straight to DVD. Which, nothing wrong with that. There's some really good ones like that, but you also, that's the sad part about horror movies is people just put them out, and there's not a lot of quality. And I mean, also, I didn't get into some of the more kid-friendly ones. If you want some kid-friendly recommendations, I mean, you have the classic Hocus Pocus, but I mean, Paranorman, and Monster House are other great movies that take place on or around Halloween. So I mean, there are a lot of good movies out there that are family friendly, and also if you just, maybe it's you and your significant other, or maybe you just want to scare the shit out of your kids or your friends. Any of these ones on my list are good choices also. So if you like, please make sure you hit that subscribe, like button, share it out to your friends. We really want to get back into this, and we want to kind of grow this channel, and we want to do it for you guys. We want to do it for the horror fans, and like we've said before, we are huge horror movie fans, but we also do love other pop culture, and we will touch on that here and there, but primarily it is going to be horror movies. And I'm not sure if you can hear my dog crying. That would be what is coming through. Not too happy that I have her shut out of the room, but she would be jumping on me, running around, and kind of being a little bit of a distraction. But I thank you guys. I'm glad that we're finally getting back to this. I'm excited, and without anything further, you guys have a good one. Halloween.